Listen up. If the startup world hasn't ripped your guts out yet, it's only a matter of time. Because here's the brutal truth. Most founders, investors, and leaders are chasing shiny illusions, pouring sweat and tears into projects that never see real explosive growth. Why? Because they got the blueprint wrong. They're stuck measuring the wrong things, listening to worn-out advice, and mistaking noise for signals. The pain of watching promising startups sputter out is real. The gnawing frustration of almost making it but falling short, crippling. But here's what nobody's screaming loud enough. The early indicators that predict rocket-fueled expansion are not what you think. They are hidden, subtle, and bleeding under the radar. If you don't obsess over these, you'll be stuck on the hamster wheel, running hard but going nowhere. Step into this mindset. Forget vanity metrics. Throw out expensive dashboards tracking impressions or downloads that don't convert. Stop worshipping growth hacks or viral moments. What's going to rip your startup from zero to unstoppable is raw, drilled down signals about your team, your market, and your momentum. Forget past glories or shiny pitch decks. Look where the fire truly burns. First, obsess over your founder signal, not just who you are, but how you fight. Can your leadership sell the impossible and then outwork it? This is about relentless clarity and stubborn resilience. The founders who scale startups faster don't just have solutions, they carry iron wills to execute relentlessly. If the team quits after one no, if doubt creeps in at the first sign of resistance, watch the slow death of your venture unfold. Build an unbreakable core culture where failure fuels force, not fear. Demand hyper-transparency internally. Weaknesses exposed, weaknesses turned into strengths instantly. This will shape your startup's DNA for exponential survival, which is the foundation of explosive growth. Second, market obsession is non-negotiable. Stop flattering yourself that your product fits the market just because some people like it. The real question, do you own enough of the target's reality that they can't live without you? Early explosive growth hinges on a brutal fact. How much pain or hunger does your startup absolutely, desperately, uniquely solve? Identify your pain so clearly and massive that the market bleeds for it even before your product launches. That hunger will multiply every user, every customer, every dollar like wildfire. Drill down beyond general problems. Get microscopic. Raw need, raw pain, raw urgency. Can your startup's heartbeat be felt in the veins of the market? Get on that level or prepare to drown in indifference. Third, forget traditional funding timelines. The obedience to raise in rounds, hit milestones, rinse and repeat is a slow killer. Instead, be ruthless about strategic capital. Investors who bring more than money, connections, advice, relentless pressure to scale, are the early indicators of explosive startup growth. Seek the few who don't just fund but fight beside you. This synergy creates unstoppable velocity. If your investors are silent backers, you're running alone. Don't beg for cash. Hunt down partners who force the startup forward with the ferocity you cannot reach alone. Fourth, momentum metrics that don't lie. User retention and engagement built around a core loop that drives addictive use or repeated purchases. Be evangelical about building a repeat button your customers can't find fast enough. One-time users are dead weight. Scale is about how deep you can embed your product into daily lives or workflows. Look for early evidence that people aren't just trying you, they're hooked. If your startup doesn't generate a compulsive habit early on, you're building a leaky bucket destined for slow death. Fifth, the power of network effects if you dare to build them. This isn't vague tech jargon. It's the raw magic sauce where every user makes other users exponentially more valuable. At the earliest stage, find ways your product or service gets better the more people it serves. If you don't have a direct line to this kind of feedback loop, double-check your strategy. These network-driven startups explode because their value multiplies naturally, turning growth into a raging hurricane instead of a gentle breeze. Sixth, measure the speed of iteration. The startups exploding into the stratosphere aren't building walls. They're testing, breaking, and rebuilding at an insane clip. Early indicators here are brutal. How fast can you go from hypothesis to user feedback to product tweak and back again? If your team isn't in a daily sprint of learning and pivoting, You're building a slow death machine, not a rocket. Investors see this fire instantly. When it's missing, they back off. When it's there, they lean in. Your startup's heartbeat must be a frenzy of purposeful motion, no patience for inertia. Seventh, stop fetishizing perfect product launches. Those are traps that kill momentum before it starts. Early explosive growth comes from imperfect launches that trigger massive attention because they solve desperate problems now, not later. The market for giving your flaws for solving big pain is a signal you want to chase. Build your runway on that early messy traction because waiting for polish is dreaming of death. Here's what all this means. Stop chasing illusions handed down by tired accelerators, expert guides, or startup consultants who think volume beats depth. Stop measuring everything except what actually moves the needle. This game is about savage honesty with yourself and your market. It's about building a force of nature that won't stop until it's dominating. The world keeps telling you to fit in, to follow the rulebook, to take what you can get and be happy with mediocrity. Tear that script apart. You're not here to survive. You're here to break through, to find the few connections, the few insights, the few breakthroughs that turn odds to your favor. You want explosive growth? It starts by locking in founder strength no one can shake, by bleeding market pain so deeply your customers ache, by choosing investors who don't just fund but fight, by embedding your product so deeply people can't live without it, by harnessing network magic that multiplies your impact daily, by moving faster than anyone thinks possible, and by launching raw and real instead of waiting for fake perfection. Ignore these signals and you'll drown in a sea of average startups. Obsess over them and watch your venture catch fire and scorch the sky. This is the battlefield. The difference between fading away and becoming legendary is the early indicators you decide to hunt down and fight for today. The world will lie. Systems will try to cage you. The comfortable voices will scream to keep you small, safe, average. But you, who feel that fire in your gut, know otherwise. This is the moment to destroy illusions, ignite raw reality, and pull your startup into a different dimension. No distractions, no excuses, hunger for the right signals, hunt relentlessly, build feverishly, move wildly. Because the difference between explosion and implosion is buried in the early signs you refuse to ignore, refuse to accept good enough, refuse to play by broken rules, refuse to be just another noise in the market. This is the war for your startup's soul. Fight hard, fight smart, fight now.